Hello, BookTube. I have a mail haul for you here. I know that I said yesterday and have said many times that my mail hauls are gonna be dwindling any day now. They're gonna be disappearing any day now. Then it stops, and then I get contradicted the next day. That happened today. We have a fairly average-sized mail haul today, so maybe the mail is going to continue with sputterings at a relatively steady pace forever. That would certainly suit Steve right down to the ground. So let's see what kind of trouble we can get into with these packages. Because I know I say this all the time, but I absolutely love doing this. I know I have heard carpers sometimes say, not in connection with this channel, but in connection with other channels, I've heard carpers say, well, it's just book porn. Of course, people are going to watch because they want to see what's in the package. They want to see the new things that are coming out. I don't believe that any of you think that. I certainly don't. I just love seeing all these new things and having somebody to talk about them with. So having people who are just as interested in some of this stuff as I am. So I just love doing it. I don't make any predictions. I don't make any plans that cross over from one year to the next. But in 2019, there's a part of me that's certainly hoping that we keep doing mail hauls forever. This is just so much fun to have somebody to talk about all this with. But anyway, let's see what we have here. Oh my God. Okay. All right. All right. First one comes out in April, of course. All the books in the world are coming out in April. But I did not know this was coming. And I clenched up. I admit, I clenched up in all of my various sphincters as soon as I saw the title. This is by Bryce Andrews, and it is called Down from the Mountain, The Life and Death of a Grizzly Bear. And it draws on one individual animal's life to reveal the changing character of the American West. The grizzly is one of North America's few remaining large predators. Their range is diminished, but they're spreading across the West again. Descending into valleys where once they were king, bears find landscapes they'd known for eons have utterly changed by the new, most dominant animal, humans. As the grizzlies approach, the people of the region are wary at best of their return. In searing detail, award-winning writer, Montana rancher, and conservationist Bryce Andrews tells us about one such grizzly. Montana rancher and conservationist. Okay. Don't know anything about Bryce Andrews, but when I see Montana rancher and conservationist together, I think automatically that this is someone who calls himself a conservationist and whose primary tool for conserving animals is to shoot them dead. And that doesn't sit well with Steve. Maybe Bryce Andrews is not that kind of Montana conservationist. He tells the story of one such grizzly, Millie, a typical mother, strong, cunning, fiercely protective of her cubs. But raising those cubs becomes even harder as the mountains change, the climate warms, and people crowd the valleys. Okay. All right, so very focused natural history and on the returning grizzly bear. The reason why I, in case some of you were wondering, I have to keep remembering there are hundreds of you that are new. And I don't expect you to go spelunking through 1,600 videos, so you might not have any idea what I'm talking about at any moment about anything. The reason that I clenched is because I've done a huge amount of traveling, including all throughout the American West, the west of Canada, and also the east of Russia. And that's why I clenched when I saw that silhouette and that subtitle, because when you're out and about, when you're deep in the wilderness, far, far from humanity, far, far from roads, far even from way station cabins and whatnot, the very worst thing that can happen to you is a grizzly bear. That is the very worst thing that can happen. So you're walking, through light forest with a crowd of dogs, and you're having a blast, and you're singing show tunes, and you break out from the scrub of the trees into a nice meadow that's about maybe as long as an American football field, and your dogs are suddenly not carousing anymore. They're all stiff and tense, and they're all pointed in the same direction, and you're saying, "What is it, boys? What's the matter?" And then you look all the way to the end of the field, and all the way at the end of the field, the thing that you thought was a rock stands up, and you're looking at an 8-foot-tall grizzly bear sow. And you realize from what your dogs are reacting that somewhere in the field, at the other end of the field near that bear, are her cubs. And suddenly your world has changed completely. You have gone from, isn't this a beautiful afternoon, in an hour or two we'll have to find a spot to bed down and maybe get something to eat. The broader picture all of a sudden collapses to I am going to die in the next 5 minutes. And it's going to be horrible. I'm not just going to die. I'm going to die by feeling pencil-long incisors break into the back of my skull. And I'm going to feel them first grinding on my skin. I'm going to hear the Naugahyde sound effect of my skin ripping off from the bone. And then I'm going to feel myself be eaten. That moment happens because of grizzly bears. Now, I know, black bears can be dangerous. Of course they can be. They're 200 pounds of solid muscle. They have claws. You can find a brown bear in a bad mood. And let's not even talk about moose. I have a moose story someday, BookTube. You will get me drunk and I will tell you my moose story. It involves beagles. And they're nothing to kid around about either. They're 15 feet tall. But nothing is as bad as a grizzly bear. They're always in a bad mood. They're freaking enormous. 3 times as big as a black bear. When a grizzly bear is running towards you, even if it's a mock charge or something like that, the ground underneath your feet is literally shaking. They are unbelievable holdovers from the Pleistocene. You have to be in one's presence to really get the sense of power that we're talking about here. And it's power matched with a bad mood and savage weaponry. And every time that I have had an encounter like that in the wild, I was saved only by the fact that I was in complete control of one of the only forces in the natural world that can actually intimidate a grizzly bear, and that is a pack of dogs. Be it wolves or coyotes or beagles or mutts from the nearest town in small town Alaska, whatever it is, a pack of canines working in unison can kill any grizzly bear, and grizzly bears know it. It balks them. They will not continue their charge. They will not take the human down. They will not chew the human's head off if there's a pack of dogs, because a pack of dogs can win. It's one brain, but multiple bodies, and that's unbeatable. And that's the only thing that saved me the many, many times I've encountered these monsters in the wild. So that's why I clenched up when I saw this. But this is probably about a very lovable grizzly bear. The mothers with cubs are the worst. The worst. They are apoplectic with rage at all times. Anyway. Okay, this is another nature title. This is Inside the World of Spring Migration, a season on the wing. This is all about migrating birds. Every spring, billions of birds sweep north, driven by ancient instincts to return to their breeding grounds. This vast parade often goes unnoticed, except in a few places where these small travelers concentrate in large numbers. One such place is along Lake Erie in northwestern Ohio. There, the peak of spring migration is so spectacular that it attracts bird watchers from around the globe. Oh, wow. Okay. A new book on spring migration. Fantastic. A bird book. Uh-oh. Olive will be interested. So am I. All right, let's move on here. Let's see what we have here. What's next? Oh, great. Okay, this is the finished copy of Sam Leit's Hark. I think we saw the advanced copy of this. This is... let's see here. In an America convulsed by political upheaval, cultural discord, environmental collapse, and spiritual confusion, many folks are searching for peace, salvation, and perhaps most immediately, just a little damned focus. Enter Hark Mourner, an unwitting guru whose technique of mental archery is set to captivate the masses and raise him to near messiah status. It's a role he never asked for, and one he is woefully unprepared to take on. But his inner circle of modern pilgrims has other plans, as do some suddenly powerful fringe players, including a renegade Ivy League ethicist, a gentle Swedish kidnapper, a crossbow-hunting veteran of drungle drug wars, a social media tycoon with an empire on the skids, and a mysteriously influential but undeniably slimy catfish. So modern comedy. Does this have a pub sheet? Do I have anything to go on here? This probably comes out in April. Why am I even bothering to look? No, this comes out in mid-January. Great. Okay. I've mostly liked this author's work, so we shall see. You can't really see. Frida Bean she is destroying my mail, but not in a very dramatic fashion. She's laid down like some sort of pasha right next to me on the bed. I don't know if I can make you see here. She's laying down next to me. There you go. There she is. And she's surrounded now by the packages that she's destroyed. But she's not on the floor. She's comfortable destroying them right where she is. So what do we got here? Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Okay. The other day, I opened a package by H.S. Cross, a new historical novel coming out, I think, in April, called Grievous, set in a British boys' school, and it's the second volume in a series. And I read the first volume called Wilberforce and didn't know what to think of it. There were parts of it that really irritated me. There were parts of it that I really liked, and like some fiction, it stuck with me. So when I got Grievous, I emailed the publicist and asked if they could send a copy of Wilberforce, because I know that I don't have a copy of this. Unless it's in deepest, darkest Mordor, I don't have a copy of this. So now I do. That's great. Because I mean, I know that the author, I think she wants each of these books to stand alone, but I have a feeling that I get a lot more out of Grievous if I read Wilberforce first, if I read it again. Or even maybe read Grievous first and then reread Wilberforce to see how much of this has been conceived ahead of time. We shall see. I'm glad to have it, so that's wonderful. Then we'll move on to this next one. Yes? You want this? Go please. Ooh, what have we got there? All right, what have we here? Okay. All right, this is coming out. Oh, no, this comes out on December 31st. I've decided, I've sort of made a mental, just a rule of my own, that I can review December 31st books in January. So there's a handful of books that are coming out. Their date is the 31st, but I'm going to review them as January books anyway. I don't think that's fair. To consider them 2018 books doesn't seem fair. And this is one of them. This comes out on the 31st of December. From Harvard University Press, this is Paul Cosman, Time and Its Adversaries in the Seleucid Empire. Fairly brainy. In this eye-opening book, Paul Cosman explains how the Seleucid Empire's invention of a new kind of time and the rebellions against this worldview transformed the way we organize our thoughts about the past, the present, and the future. In the aftermath of Alexander the Great's conquest, the Seleucid kings ruled a vast territory stretching from Central Asia to Anatolia, Armenia to the Persian Gulf. In a radical move to impose unity and regulate behavior, this Greco-Macedonian imperial power introduced a linear and transcendent conception of time. Amazing. Amazing. Oh my. Oh, I am totally on board. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So this comes out on the very last day of 2018. I am not going to hold that against it. This and a handful of other books. I'm including them in January books. So sue me. I am the ultimate arbiter of these things anyway. So, all right. Then we have the last one. I had to put that package in her mouth. She's getting a little lazy in her old age. So what is this? What is this? This is from Farrar, Straus & Giroux. Comes out in April, of course. But what is it? What is it? What is this, Bean? What is this? This is by Christopher Tillman, and it is Thomas and Beale in the Meaty. Lovely looking thing. What on earth? Christopher Tillman, the author of The Right-Hand Shore and Mason's Retreat, continues to plumb the legacy of the Civil War with a family saga that leads us to the late 19th century France. Thomas and Beale Bailey, a young interracial couple from Maryland, escape to Paris and attempt to build a new life as winemakers in the Languedoc region during the 1890s. As they traverse vast cultures and continents, the studious Thomas and the beautiful, sought-after Beale struggle with their ideas of race, identity, love, and purpose in this radiant work. Stunning in its insight and vividly imagined, Tillman is not stunning in his insight, and he is not vividly imagined. His book continues to explore the past that is never far from our present. Okay, so my number one question is, how closely connected is this to the Right-Hand Shore and Mason's Retreat, or any of the others? This is the third book. Continues to plumb the legacy of the Civil War. I wonder, does that mean this is a continuation of something, or can I read this on its own? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll read it on its own anyway. And if I get the sense that I'm missing something important, I can always ask for the earlier volumes. Although if I get the sense that I'm missing something important, that is a flaw of this book. But that premise certainly sounds amazing. All right, so this comes out in April. It's yet another great sounding historical novel for 2019. So 2019 does seem to be the year of historical novels. Great. Well, that is our mail haul. That wasn't bad at all. So let's see what we have here. We have Time and Its Adversaries in the Seleucid Empire. We have Wilberforce, which I will reread. We have Thomas and Beale in the Meaty, historical novel. Interracial couple. in the wake of the American Civil War. Then Hark by Sam Lipsyte, about a reluctant messiah. Season on the Wind, about seasonal migrations in birds. And Down from the Mountain, the story of one caring, loving, touchy-feely mother grizzly bear. And the various Boy Scout troops that she has eaten. But anyway, that's the mail for now. But who knows? There's probably more coming. So I'll see. We'll open it together, and I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.